First contact. The quantum detection array on Europa's southern ice shelf registered the anomaly at exactly 3:47 a.m. Earth Standard Time. Dr. Elena Rodriguez, lead scientist at the Deep Space Monitoring Station, initially dismissed it as another false positive. After 20 years of scanning the cosmos for signs of advanced civilizations, the system had cried wolf more times than she cared to count. But this signal was different. "Dr. Rodriguez, you need to see this," her assistant Marcus called out, his voice carrying an edge she'd never heard before. "The quantum signatures, they're exactly what the theoretical models predicted for faster-than-light travel." Elena was already moving toward his station, her heart racing. The holographic display showed a pattern she had only seen in simulations, the distinctive ripple in space-time that indicated a massive object dropping out of FTL travel. But instead of a single signature, there were dozens. No, hundreds. "Send the alert," she ordered, her voice steady despite the gravity of the moment. "Protocol Omega. Now." Across the solar system, hidden quantum communications arrays activated, carrying her message to Earth's most secure facility, the Global Defense Council headquarters buried deep beneath the Canadian Rockies. Within minutes, Council Director Marcus Chen was staring at the same data, his weathered face illuminated by the soft blue glow of holographic displays. "How certain are we?" he asked the assembled leaders, each joining virtually from their own secure locations. "The quantum signatures match our theoretical models with 99.8% accuracy," Elena's hologram replied. "They're using a form of FTL travel that warps space-time. Exactly what our own research suggested would be possible. But, Director, there's more." The display shifted, showing energy readings that made several council members gasp. The power output from the approaching vessels dwarfed anything humanity had ever achieved. Officially, at least. "How long until they reach Earth?" someone asked. "At their current velocity, approximately 72 hours, Elena answered. "They're being cautious, making small FTL jumps instead of coming straight in, almost like they're scanning for defenses." Director Chen allowed himself a small smile. "Then they're about to get their first lesson about humanity. Activate Protocol Shadowmaker." Across Earth and throughout the solar system, careful preparations that had been centuries in the making began to unfold. In orbit, seemingly civilian satellites subtly altered their positions, creating gaps in Earth's sensor coverage, gaps that would appear random to any observer, but were precisely calculated. Underground facilities that had masqueraded as storage bunkers or research stations transformed into military command centers. But most importantly, quantum computers that had been kept offline for decades hummed to life, beginning to analyze the alien vessel's every move. The Valoran fleet emerged from their final FTL jump with practiced precision, their massive ships arranged in a perfect geometric pattern that spoke of countless successful conquests. High Commander Talith stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Eternal Dominion, his 4 eyes taking in the sight of humanity's homeworld. Such a primitive species, he mused, noting the crude satellites and space stations, yet they've managed to achieve basic spaceflight and global unity. They meet the minimum requirements for integration into the Empire. "High Commander," his sensor officer called out, "I'm detecting approximately 300 orbital defense platforms. Primitive kinetic weapons and nuclear devices only. No energy shields, no quantum technology." Talith's mouthparts clicked in amusement. This would be easier than expected. Send the standard greeting. Let's see how quickly they submit. The message was broadcast simultaneously in every human language, the product of months of careful observation and analysis. "People of Earth, you stand in the presence of the Valoran Empire, rulers of 1,000 stars. Your civilization has been deemed worthy of elevation. Submit to imperial authority, and you shall be granted the privilege of serving the greater good of the galaxy. Resist and face extinction. You have 1 planetary rotation to respond." In the council chamber, Director Chen watched the message replay, noting every nuance in the alien's tone and choice of words. "They're exactly what we expected," he said quietly. "Arrogant, convinced of their own superiority. Dr. Rodriguez, what do your readings tell us about their technology?" Elena's hologram gestured, bringing up detailed scans. "Their FTL drive uses principles similar to what we theorized decades ago. Their weapons appear to be primarily plasma-based, with quantum-enhanced targeting systems. Advanced, yes, but—" She paused, allowing herself a small smile. "Not as advanced as they think they are. And nothing we haven't prepared for," Chen finished. He turned to the assembled council members. "The moment we've planned for has arrived. For 300 years, since the first hints of alien civilizations were detected, humanity has hidden its true capabilities. We've maintained the facade of a young, barely spacefaring race, all while developing technologies in secret that even the Valorans haven't mastered." He stood, his voice carrying the weight of centuries of preparation. "Now we show them why that was a mistake. Begin Operation Stormbreak." Across Earth, hidden quantum transmitters activated, sending coded signals to facilities throughout the solar system. In the asteroid belt, entire rocks shifted, revealing carefully concealed shipyards. Beneath the ice of Europa and Enceladus, massive reactors powered up. And in underground bases on Earth, soldiers donned powered armor that had never seen the light of day. On the Eternal Dominion, Talith was growing impatient. "No response yet." "No, High Commander," his communications officer replied. "We're detecting increased communications between their population centers, but no official." The officer's words were cut off by a sudden shift in sensor readings. All across Earth, what had appeared to be simple communications satellites were transforming, quantum fields shimming into existence around them. The crude nuclear weapons platforms were revealing themselves to be something far more sophisticated. "Impossible," Talith whispered, watching as his sensor displays showed quantum signatures appearing throughout the solar system. "They're supposed to be primitive. They shouldn't have this technology." The human response finally came, transmitted on frequencies that the Valorans had thought beyond Earth's capabilities. "To the Valoran Empire, humanity acknowledges your greeting. We've been waiting for this moment for centuries. You mistake our patience for weakness, our preparation for primitiveness. We will not submit. We will not serve. And now, you will learn why we spent 300 years pretending to be less than we are." As if to punctuate the message, quantum distortions began appearing throughout the solar system. What the Valorans had dismissed as simple asteroid fields were revealing themselves to be vast fleets of advanced warships, their hulls covered in technology that even the Empire hadn't mastered. Talith stared at the displays in growing horror as he realized the truth. They hadn't discovered Earth. Earth had been waiting for them. And humanity's first lesson was about to begin. The price of pride. High Commander Talith had never experienced failure in his 3 centuries of service to the Valoran Empire. As he watched the quantum signatures of human warships materializing throughout the solar system, he realized he might be about to experience his first. "Launch fighters," he commanded, his voice carrying the edge of desperation. "Full combat deployment. Show these deceptive primitives the true might of the Empire." Thousands of Valoran strike craft poured from their carrier ships, their crystalline hulls gleaming in the sunlight as they formed up into perfect attack formations. It was a display that had broken the will of countless civilizations before, the overwhelming show of force that typically preceded a swift surrender. The humans didn't flinch. From their hidden shipyards throughout the asteroid belt, Earth's own fighters emerged. They were smaller than their Valoran counterparts, but their hulls rippled with active quantum fields that seemed to bend light itself around them. As the two forces approached each other, the first true battle between humanity and the Empire began. In her command chair aboard the EDS Hyperion, Wing Commander Sarah Chen watched the Valoran formations through augmented reality displays that floated before her eyes. "Remember your training," she broadcast to her pilots. "They rely on rigid formations and predictable attack patterns. Use the phase drives. Show them what true adaptation looks like. The human fighters suddenly shifted, their quantum drives activating in ways the Valorans had never seen. Instead of maintaining formal formations, they seemed to flow like water, each ship moving independently yet somehow in perfect coordination with its squad mates. The Valoran fighters, bound by centuries of doctrine and training, couldn't adapt fast enough. Impossible. A Valoran squadron leader transmitted as his ships tried to track targets that seemed to exist in multiple places at once. Their phase technology. They're shifting partially out of normal space. The battle quickly became a slaughter, but not in the way the Empire had expected. Human fighters danced through Valoran formations, their advanced quantum weapons bypassing shields that had been considered impenetrable. Each human pilot fought with centuries of simulated combat experience, their neural interfaces allowing them to react at speeds that seemed supernatural to their opponents. Aboard the Eternal Dominion, Talith watched in horror as his fighter screens were systematically demolished. "Launch the second wave," he ordered. "All capital ships, prepare for close-range engagement." But even as he gave the order, new alerts were screaming for his attention. Throughout the solar system, what had appeared to be simple mining operations on various moons and asteroids were transforming. Quantum weapons platforms emerged from hidden bunkers, their targeting systems already locked onto Valoran ships. "High Commander," his tactical officer called out, voice trembling, "we're detecting massive energy buildups throughout the system." The humans, they had weapons installations hidden everywhere. In the council chamber beneath the Rockies, Director Chen watched the battle unfold with grim satisfaction. "They thought we would be easy prey," he commented to Elena Rodriguez, who stood beside him analyzing real-time data. "They never considered that we might have spent centuries preparing for this moment." Elena nodded, her fingers dancing through holographic displays. "The quantum signature analysis is fascinating," she said. "Their technology is advanced, yes, but it's stagnant. They haven't made any significant improvements in centuries. They haven't needed to." "Pride," Chen replied. "The greatest weakness of any empire. They became so convinced of their superiority that they stopped innovating." He turned to his communications officer. "Send the next phase order." Across the solar system, humanity's hidden fleets began to move. Ships emerged from caverns carved into Europa's ice, their hulls covered in stealth systems that made them nearly invisible even to Valoran sensors. From the dark side of Mars, massive carriers rose from underground hangars, launching waves of autonomous combat drones that had been waiting decades for this moment. Talith watched his tactical displays with growing despair as human forces seemed to materialize from every direction. Their technology wasn't just advanced, it was specifically designed to counter everything the Empire had relied upon for centuries. Their quantum weapons bypassed Valoran shields as if they didn't exist. Their phase drives allowed them to appear and disappear at will, making traditional targeting solutions useless. "How?" he demanded of no one in particular. "How did they hide all of this?" The answer came in the form of a direct transmission from Director Chen himself. "You see only what you expect to see, High Commander. For 3 centuries, we knew you were out there. We watched. We learned. Every time you conquered another species, we studied your tactics. Every technology you relied upon, we found ways to counter. We didn't just prepare for war. We prepared specifically for war with you." As if to emphasize his point, another wave of human ships phased into existence, their weapons already firing. Valoran ships began exploding across the system as carefully planned attack vectors caught them in devastating crossfires. "Fall back," Talith ordered, finally accepting the reality of his situation. "All ships, emergency FTL jumps to Rally Point Alpha." But even retreat wouldn't be as simple as the Empire expected. As Valoran ships attempted to power up their FTL drives, they discovered another nasty surprise. Human quantum technology was creating localized distortions in spacetime, making faster-than-light travel dangerous or impossible in carefully controlled zones. "They've trapped us," Talith realized, watching as human forces methodically began to close in from all directions. All this time, we thought we were the hunters. But you were the prey. Chen's voice finished for him. Consider this humanity's counteroffer, High Commander. You came here expecting to find primitives ready to kneel. Instead, you found equals who have spent centuries preparing to stand. The question now is, how many of your people need to die before the Empire acknowledges its mistake? As Talith stared at the tactical displays, showing his forces being systematically dismantled by weapons and strategies they had never encountered before, he realized that this wasn't just a battle being lost. It was the beginning of the end of everything the Empire had taken for granted. Humanity hadn't just prepared for war. They had prepared to shatter the very foundations of Valoran superiority. And they were just getting started. Operation Starfall. Admiral Maya Patel stood on the bridge of the EDS Prometheus, Earth's most advanced warship, watching as her fleet prepared for humanity's first faster-than-light jump into Valoran space. The quantum drives hummed with barely contained power, ready to tear a hole through the fabric of reality itself. Status report, she commanded, her dark eyes fixed on the holographic display showing their target. The Valoran frontier world of Nexus Prime, home to one of the Empire's largest military shipyards. All ships report ready, Admiral, her XO, Commander David Santos, responded. Phase drives are synchronized, and quantum shields are at maximum capacity. The Valoran defense grid hasn't detected our presence yet. Maya allowed herself a small smile. After driving the Empire's invasion fleet from Sol, humanity was taking the fight to enemy territory. But this wasn't just a retaliatory strike. It was the beginning of Operation Starfall, a campaign designed to shatter the Empire's grip on power. Send the signal to all ships, she ordered. Execute jump sequence on my mark. Throughout the fleet, crews prepared for battle. These weren't just soldiers. They were the culmination of centuries of human preparation. Each ship carried technology that had been developed in absolute secrecy, waiting for this moment. Jump in 3, 2, 1, mark. Reality twisted as hundreds of human warships activated their quantum drives simultaneously. Space itself seemed to fold around them as they phased between dimensions, executing a maneuver that the Valoran Empire had long thought impossible. A coordinated mass jump that would bring them out precisely where they wanted to be. They emerged in perfect formation, directly above Nexus Prime's orbital shipyards. The Valoran defenders had exactly 3 seconds to register shock at the human fleet's sudden appearance before all hell broke loose. All ships, weapons free, Maya commanded. Execute attack pattern Omega. Human warships launched their assault with devastating precision. Phase-shifted fighters screamed through Valoran formations, their quantum weapons bypassing shields and armor as if they didn't exist. Larger vessels unleashed salvos of missiles that actually accelerated when they hit their targets' defensive screens, turning the Empire's own shield technology against them. In the Nexus Prime Command Center, Planetary Governor Krelix watched in horror as human ships systematically dismantled his defenses. Impossible, he snarled, his mandibles clicking in agitation. They shouldn't be able to pierce our quantum shields. Sir, his tactical officer reported, voice trembling. They're not piercing the shields. They're phasing through them. Their weapons exist partially, out of normal space-time. It was technology beyond anything the Empire had thought possible, and it was tearing through their carefully constructed defenses like paper. But the humans weren't just attacking military targets. They were being selective, precise. Governor, a communications officer called out, they're broadcasting on all frequencies, in perfect Valoran. The message that played through the command center was clear and direct. Attention citizens of Nexus Prime. This is Admiral Maya Patel of the Earth Defense Fleet. We are not here to harm civilian populations. Our quarrel is with the Empire that claims to rule you. All non-military personnel are advised to clear the designated combat zones. We will not fire on civilian targets. Maya watched from her command chair as the civilian population began evacuating the targeted areas. This wasn't just about military victory. It was about showing the Empire's subjects that there was another way. "Admiral," Santos reported, "we're detecting quantum fluctuations from the far side of the planet. Valoran reinforcements incoming." "Right on schedule," Maya replied. "Deploy the quantum mines." As the Valoran reinforcement fleet emerged from FTL, they found themselves in a carefully prepared trap. Quantum mines activated, creating localized distortions in space-time that trapped their ships in normal space, preventing escape and rendering their primary weapons useless. "Second wave. Commence attack," Maya ordered. From behind Nexus Prime's largest moon, another human fleet emerged. These ships were different, smaller, faster, equipped with experimental weapons that the Empire had never seen before. They struck the trapped Valoran ships from multiple angles, their coordinated assault displaying a level of tactical sophistication that left their enemies reeling. In the Prometheus's tactical center, Dr. Alan Chen, one of the architects of humanity's quantum weapon systems, monitored the battle's progress. The Empire's fundamental weakness, he commented to Maya over a private channel, is that they stopped innovating centuries ago. They thought they'd reached the pinnacle of technological achievement, and we're showing them how wrong they were. Maya finished. She watched as another Valoran battleship succumbed to human weapons, its quantum core collapsing in on itself. Status of primary objective. "The shipyards are completely disabled," Santos reported. "Our precision strikes have destroyed their military production capability while leaving civilian infrastructure intact. Quantum scanning shows no significant civilian casualties." This was more than just a military victory. It was a message to every species under Valoran rule. Humanity wasn't just fighting the Empire. They were demonstrating a different kind of power, one that could defeat the supposedly invincible Valorans while minimizing civilian casualties. As the battle wound down, Maya received a priority transmission from Earth. Director Chen's hologram appeared on her command deck, his expression grave but satisfied. "Excellent work, Admiral. How soon can your fleet be ready for Phase 2? Maya studied the tactical displays, noting that her forces had suffered minimal casualties thanks to their overwhelming technological advantage. "The ships can be ready within 6 hours. The crews will need 12 for rest and refit." "Make it 10, Chen replied. "We've received intelligence that the Empire is already beginning to withdraw forces from their outer territories to reinforce their core worlds. They're starting to understand what they're really facing." Maya nodded, already planning the next phase of the operation. "They thought they were punishing upstart primitives," she said. "Instead, they've awakened something they never expected, a humanity that spent centuries preparing specifically to defeat them." As her crews began recovery operations, Maya looked out at the stars beyond Nexus Prime. Somewhere out there, the Empire's leadership was beginning to realize the true scope of their mistake. They had expected an easy conquest, but had instead found an enemy that had spent generations preparing for this very moment. And Operation Starfall was just beginning. The heart of Empire. Captain Zora Patil moved through the shadows of the Valoran capital city like a ghost, her quantum stealth suit making her virtually invisible to the Empire's most advanced detection systems. The spires of Imperial Center rose around her like crystalline mountains, their surfaces reflecting the light of 3 moons. Behind her, 4 other members of Special Operations Team Delta maintained perfect formation, their movements synchronized through neural links. "Primary target is 3 kilometers ahead," her AI assistant whispered in her mind. "The Imperial archives are showing increased security activity. They know something's coming." Of course they did. The devastating success of Operation Starfall had the Empire scrambling to protect its most vital secrets. But they were preparing for the wrong kind of attack. "Status check," Zara sub-vocalized to her team. "Better ready," came Lieutenant James Chen's response. The quantum physics specialist had spent years studying Valoran technology. "Gamma ready," reported Dr. Sarah Rodriguez, their xenobiologist and cultural expert. "Delta and Epsilon ready," confirmed the twins, Michael and Maria Santos, the team's combat specialists. They weren't just soldiers. They were the product of centuries of human advancement in genetics, cybernetics, and quantum engineering. Each of them carried enough advanced technology in their enhanced bodies to rival a small starship. The team approached the archives through maintenance tunnels that the Empire's architects had considered too small for any serious security threat. They hadn't counted on humans who could phase their molecular structure to squeeze through gaps barely 20 centimeters wide. First checkpoint, Zara announced as they reached a quantum security barrier. James. Lieutenant Chen stepped forward, his augmented vision analyzing the barrier's energy patterns. Standard Imperial quantum lock, he muttered. They really haven't updated their security in centuries. His fingers danced through holographic interfaces only he could see, sending precisely calibrated quantum pulses that made the barrier think it was still active while they passed through it. The Empire's over-reliance on supposedly unbeatable technology was once again proving to be their weakness. Deep inside the archives, they found their target, the Ancestral Core, a quantum computer complex that contained the complete historical records of the Valoran Empire. According to intelligence gathered during Operation Starfall, it held secrets that the Empire's current leadership wanted to keep buried. "Sarah, you're up," Zara ordered. Dr. Rodriguez approached the interface terminal, her neural implants connecting directly with the alien system. "The encryption is complex," she reported, "but it's based on mathematical principles we decrypted decades ago. Beginning data extraction." As Sarah worked, the others maintained a defensive perimeter. Through their neural link, Zora could sense Michael and Maria's growing tension. Something felt wrong. "Multiple contacts approaching," Michael reported suddenly. "Quantum signatures unlike anything in our database." "They're not Valoran," Maria added. "These are different." The team took defensive positions as the unknown entities approached. Through walls that should have been solid, ghostly figures emerge. Beings of pure energy contained within ancient crystalline shells. "Hold fire," Sarah called out, her eyes wide as she processed data from the archives. "They're the precursors." The ghostly figures made no aggressive moves. Instead, one of them spoke directly into their minds. "We have waited long for one such as you," it said. "The Empire believes they destroyed us eons ago, but we merely transcended." Through their neural link, Sarah shared what she was learning from the archives. The precursors had been the first species the Valorans conquered, but instead of being destroyed, they had evolved into beings of pure energy. They had hidden within the Empire's own networks, watching, waiting for a species capable of breaking the Empire's grip on the galaxy. "The Empire's power is built on a lie," another precursor explained. "They did not develop their technology. They stole it from us, corrupted it, used it to dominate rather than elevate." Zara's tactical mind raced with the implications. "The quantum technology we developed independently. It's more advanced than theirs because we actually understood the principles behind it." "Yes," the first precursor confirmed. "You humans are unique. Other species merely adapted our stolen legacy, but you built your own path to the stars. You are what we hoped to find when we first reached for the heavens." Sarah continued extracting data from the archives, her expression growing darker. "The Empire, they've been deliberately suppressing technological advancement in conquered species," she reported, "keeping them dependent on Imperial technology, preventing them from developing their own solutions. And now we know why," James added, his voice grim. "They're afraid of someone surpassing them, just as we have." The precursors moved closer, their energy forms casting ethereal light through the chamber. "We can help you end their dominion," they offered. "We have watched you, seen how you fight not just for yourselves but to protect others. You can succeed where we failed, not by destroying the Empire, but by transforming it." Through their neural link, the team shared a moment of perfect understanding. This wasn't just about humanity's survival anymore. They had been given an opportunity to reshape the galaxy itself. "What do you need us to do?" Zara asked. The answer came not in words but in a flood of information. Technical specifications, strategic plans, and most importantly, the location of something the Empire had hidden away millennia ago: the original precursor quantum core, a device capable of revolutionizing faster-than-light travel and communication throughout the galaxy. Your Operation Starfall has already shown the Empire's subjects that resistance is possible, the precursors explained. With this knowledge, you can offer them something more: a future where technology serves all species, not just their self-proclaimed masters. As her team began copying the crucial data, Zara received an urgent communication from Fleet Command. Admiral Patel's hologram appeared in her field of vision. "Captain, whatever you found down there has the entire Imperial city in chaos. Their quantum network is experiencing massive fluctuations." "Mission accomplished, Admiral," Zara replied. "And we found something more valuable than we ever expected. The real war isn't just about beating the Empire. It's about freeing every species under their control." She looked at the ghostly forms of the precursors, beings who had waited eons for this moment, "and we just found the key to making that happen." The final phase of humanity's campaign against the Empire was about to begin, and it would change the galaxy forever. Ashes of Pride. The combined human precursor fleet materialized above the Valoran throne world of Imperial Prime in a display that made their previous military operations look like mere practice runs. Ships of gleaming quantum-forged metal flew in perfect formation alongside vessels of pure energy, the awakened precursor defense forces that had hidden dormant for millennia within the Empire's own networks. Admiral Maya Patel stood on the bridge of the upgraded EDS Prometheus, its systems now integrated with precursor technology in ways that would have seemed impossible just weeks ago. Beside her, the ethereal form of the precursor elder, Nexus, floated serenely. "The Empire's leadership has called every remaining ship to defend their capital," Maya observed, watching as thousands of Valoran warships moved to intercept them. "Just as we predicted." "Pride," Nexus responded, its thoughts resonating directly in Maya's mind. "Even now, they cannot conceive of defeat. They believe quantity will overcome quality." On the Valoran throne world below, Emperor Valdrix himself stood in his command center, his four eyes blazing with fury as he watched the human precursor fleet approach. The past months had seen his empire crumbling, with system after system falling to the humans' advanced technology, or worse, choosing to side with them willingly. "Deploy everything," he commanded. "Every ship, every weapon. We will not let these upstart primitives and these ghosts destroy 10,000 years of imperial rule." But even as his forces moved to engage, something unexpected happened. Throughout the Valoran fleet, ships began powering down, their quantum cores going dark. On countless bridges, control systems locked up as ancient subroutines, hidden by the precursors eons ago, finally activated. "Now, Captain Patel," Maya ordered through the quantum network. On the surface of Imperial Prime, Zara and her team had already infiltrated the planet's main quantum control hub. With the knowledge gained from the Imperial archives and the Precursor's help, they had spent weeks placing quantum resonance devices at key points throughout the capital. Initiating final sequence, Zara announced, her fingers dancing across holographic controls. "Broadcasting now." Throughout the Empire's quantum network, the truth began to spread, not in words or data, but in pure, undeniable quantum experiences. Every being connected to the network suddenly saw and felt the history that the Empire had tried to bury. The truth about the stolen precursor technology, the deliberate suppression of other species' advancement, the lies that had maintained imperial power for millennia. "This is Admiral Maya Patel of the Earth Defense Fleet." Maya broadcast on all frequencies, her message reaching every corner of what remained of the Empire. "We do not come to destroy, but to liberate. For too long, the Empire has maintained its power through deception and suppression. Today that ends." The Prometheus's main quantum projector activated, creating a massive holographic display visible from the planet's surface. It showed the new quantum core that humans and precursors had built together. a device that would allow any species to develop their own faster-than-light technology without relying on the Empire's controlled and limited versions. To all species under Imperial rule, Maya continued, we offer you a choice. Not submission, not servitude, but true independence. The technology to forge your own destiny. The freedom to advance at your own pace in your own way. On thousands of worlds, beings of countless species watched in amazement as the technical specifications for the new quantum core were freely broadcast. It wasn't just a weapon or a tool. It was the key to genuine technological independence. Emperor Valdrix watched in horror as his own forces began standing down, his supposedly loyal commanders realizing the truth about their empire's foundation. You cannot do this, he raged across the communications channels. The lesser species must be controlled. They must be guided. Without our rule, there will be chaos. No, Maya responded calmly. There will be growth. There will be innovation. There will be cooperation between equals, not domination by the few over the many. Humanity spent centuries preparing not just to fight you, but to replace your system of control with something better. The precursor Elder Nexus moved forward, its energy form pulsing with ancient power. The cycle of dominion ends today, it declared, its thoughts reaching every quantum-capable mind in the system. A new age begins, one of true advancement, true cooperation. Across the Empire, the response was overwhelming. Ships of dozens of species, long pressed into Imperial service, began declaring their independence. Colonies and systems that had suffered under Imperial rule for generations seized control of their own destinies. In orbit above Imperial Prime, Maya watched as the last Valoran ships powered down, their crews choosing surrender over continuing a fight they now knew was based on millennia of lies. The Empire, which had seemed invincible just months ago, had been defeated not just by superior technology or military might, but by the simple power of truth. Admiral, Zara reported from the surface, the Imperial leadership is requesting terms of surrender. Maya shared a look with Nexus, both knowing that this was just the beginning. Tell them we'll accept nothing less than complete disarmament and the release of all subjugated worlds, she ordered. The age of empires is over. The age of collaboration begins. As the sun rose over Imperial Prime, casting its light on a changed galaxy, Maya reflected on humanity's journey. They had spent centuries preparing for war, only to find themselves architects of peace. They had developed weapons of unprecedented power, only to use them as tools of liberation. What happens now? One of her bridge officers asked. Maya looked out at the stars, not just the local cluster that had been under Imperial control, but the vast expanse beyond. Now, she said, we do what humans have always done best. We explore, we innovate, we help others do the same, and we make sure that no empire ever again rises to dominate others. The precursor elders' form pulsed in agreement. You have proven yourselves worthy successors, it said, not to rule, but to guide, to protect, to inspire. As ships from dozens of newly freed species began arriving in the system, responding to the call of liberty, Maya knew that this wasn't just a victory for humanity. It was a victory for every species that had ever dreamed of charting its own course among the stars. The war was over. The real work of building a free galaxy was about to begin.